survive. No left when the drive, sun up to sundown. Uncle Sam never put a gun down. They call it tax, you know the rundown. Over Carolina to the Mississippi Delta. Back breaking work for food, clothes, and shelter. Are we dependent on the system for a lifeline? Or doing all the work to feed the parasite?
You already know, bro. Nicer than them suckers, always rhyming about they toaster. Known to set up shop and rock a spot in every poster. Hands up in the sky like it's a hold up. You gon' be so happy that you showed up. Cause the flow tough, showed up, rose up. Watching how we rockin', lead the whole place told up. Fans, supporters, I appreciate the way they give me that for show love. I like my rides old school, hundreds spoke up, but I keep my eyes wide open since I woke up. We breaking in and try to play us like the ghost up. Put your favorite rapper on the spot and bet it goes up. Standing there looking starstruck. Alarm clock bell, ring and making folks up. Hit me for the grown-ups, make the grown-ups. Come on, let's get it. Oh yeah. Yes, it is. Nobody gonna stop us now. Come on, yo. Oh, yeah. That's a perfect Ain't nobody. Peace to my melanated mellows. Everybody, all the femmes and the fellows. All the colors, the reds, the browns, the yellows. All my white folks, to y'all, I'm saying hello. Did I forget someone? Hell no. Shout outs to my she-rose and shell toes. Every B-boy and B-girl and every other hip-hop cat out in the free world. If you ain't free, it's for you too. Muslim, Christian, or Hebrew. Political prisoners, I see you. You're a big part of everything that we do. Gangsta grabs the League of Justice. Keep it stacked with positives and pluses. Old school classic above your judgment. Bring the mix of the rugged and the rustic. Push the buttons, get with us, kid.
Oh yeah, that's affirmative. Oh yeah. That's affirmative.
verse in this preamble. As I set it off, I'm gonna set the example. Animal on an elephant's back, I trample on a track with a banjo or a sample. Grab an old piece of steel from a landfill, storm Olympus and watch Rambill. A microphone forged on Vulcan's anvil, then battle the gods of myth to a standstill. You don't wanna gamble, I guarantee it. Tsunami flows that'll leave you seasick. It's alright, put me on the remix. I'm sick, I step like a beatnik. Roll with cats, that's full of Felix. Don't think that language cannot deal with. Pop it right in the double helix of our DNA, so we're born with the realness.
Stop your feet and don't need that. Swing your honey till the roof will grow. Run your head down to your head. Now bring it all down, 'cause you know what to do it.
Check it. Yo. Now I know better than to mess around with you. He told me no. How will I mess around with you? I said, now sweetheart, just tell me what you gotta say. 'Cause I bang with the bang and take and make plain like boys and the girls that like the same thing. Baby, now I ain't got to. No, I love you crazy. Just give me what I want. I'll be your favorite dog. If you can break it down. 'Cause the boys and the girls they like to come play little things in the place and make it go crazy.
Stop your feet and don't need that. Swing your honey till the roof will grow. Run your head down to your toe. Now bring it all down, 'cause you know what to do it.
Smart fella, truth teller, plus a go-getter. Cold enough to make you run and grab a wool sweater. Better get another whim if you want test, 'cause it's so thick, it'll make it up a show mess. Hit the spot with the shine on flash. Smash in the city when the rhyme on flash. Half to the cooler for the ice water splash. With a slick rhythm that'll make you wind your ass. Better stretch before you even hit a beat drop. Heat rocks when you feel it, your knees pop. Then I see you watch you grow into a beanstalk. Go ahead and hit your honey with a little sweet talk. Clean living in this piece in your good shirt. And I blow a little steam for the good work. Got you doing every move, your body good work. Gotta hit a hole in the rug from the footwork.
Stop your feet and don't need that. Swing your honey till the roof will grow. Run your head down to your toe. Now bring it all down, 'cause you know what to do it. Oh yeah. Now bring it all down, 'cause you know what to do it.
Down by the river, all for one, all for one. Meet me down by the corner, it's all for one tonight.
Lay down on the pain by the riverside. You can walk on your own, you can get a ride. Come around in the whack, you can get inside. Take a dip into the water and get purified. See me waist deep, get your hands high. Stars shining so bright in the night sky. Feel the energy awaken all the possibilities of whatever you imagine in the mind's eye. Hold on, don't get lost in the stream. I got a raft you can cross on the beam. All for the one and it's all for the team. Got a message from the heavens that was brought through a dream. This is God's green earth, it's a gift and it's worth much more than you see plant seeds in the dirt. Our earth is a queen that she be blessed with birth. Be immersed, I believe, be affirmed, be emerged.
All for one, all for one. Down by the corner, it's all for one tonight.
Crew posse, clan battalion, stampede on the tracks like a gang of stallions. Put your arms up, wave your hands around it. Make some noise for the way my band is sounding. Started from the bottom, scrounging and scraping. And even when there was no frauds and bacon. Back in the days when you placed the tape in. Recorded and converted MCs to saying, now the beats are breaking, returning to greatness. Put some gangsta grass joints on your playlist. Whenever you fake it, say your prayers. Meet us on the Hudson or the Delaware. We gon' take what we do once we get it there. Put it together and send it to every hemisphere. Even though we bring the heat, we can better swear, and everybody's gonna want a piece, so you better share.
Just to get a little bottle of pills, 'cause the man on the television told me there's a cure for all my ills. When I walked on up to the counter and I told him what I had, now he said, you ain't got no money, you can't afford to be feel so bad. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars now just to get me on down the line.
Hey there, how you doing, after folks? I tell them all the same thing, old black and broken. They think that's a joke, but I ain't playing. It's a whole lot of truth to what I'm saying. See, my bones crack, I'm so pro-black, and I got so many fills and there ain't no stacks. Hey there, Kojak, sucking on your lollipop. Think I can get a ride over to the trolley stop? I just left one job and trying to hit the next one, doing what I can do so I can get the check, son. You can keep the weed and dank the back. I'm trying to get gold and green in my bank account, so I turn up the tempo, hit the studio in full on mode. Plus I'm trying to stay out in the court, 'cause my ex-wife got me for the child support.
Well, I went down to the bodega just to get a little Mountain Dew. When I opened up my wallet, there was nothing but an IOU. Well, I told my situation, I asked him, what do you got for me? He said, I got this knuckle sandwich, and I'll give it to you for free. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? Need a couple more dollars now just to get me on down the line.
The red hook, I've been rocking mics since before there was a fed book. The left hook, the reason why your man got his head shook. From the PJs with the slip, you get your bread took. Concrete floors made it chilly when the sun down. Somehow we all made it out from the rundown. Proper man for getting played for a dumb clown. Took the less travel road, standing out amongst crowds. Old head with the fire over shit. Old heads, you can tell they a liar when they spit. Bald heads on one flex with the lion in his pit. All said it's really nothing if we flying with the fifth. I'm cooking cast iron in the pit. Your brother really think thinking all you buying is a fit. I cut it up in sections and I fry till it's crisp. The season a little more than required for the fix.
But I could not pay my ticket, and I could not pay my bail. Well, the judge couldn't pay me the time of day, and he threw my ass in jail. Well, they gave me a nickel and a dime, and they placed them upon my eyes. For it costs much more to keep me here than it did to let me die. Oh, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? $2 more just to get me on down the line. Oh, so I said, can you spare a nickel, brother? Can you spare a dime? I need a couple more dollars just to get me on down the line.
Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Ain't no law right here for me,
Gangsta grass. Yeah.
Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way.
Dirty Southern Canada ain't teed out with bebop. Let the banjos play. I'm Hayes with a sprinkle of gay. No prescriptions today. Please refrain from standing in the way. We doing damage to Smith. Hand traffic on the corner get paid. At home on the match delay. I'm thinking about this money like I'm passing away. Live fast, die young is the motto. 8 days grand theft auto. Trying to stack cash product till we all hit the lotto. I walk with bravado, real McCoy like Movado. Sipping heavy, never pass in the bottle. We all fucked up.
Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Ain't no law right here to speak of.
You find me on the street corner, standing on an escalator, shirt off, screaming, "This is your life." I'm paranoid, I haven't slept in 4 nights, since the cops always in my ear. All lights, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. So giddy up before I let this 12 gauge open up. Pretty round here, no place for golden gloves. Dead in your tracks before you throw a punch. Gangs is cold-blooded, they hugging the strip. Looking for heat, so they cover the clip. Son of a bitch, colorblind, no blood in a grip. They're in love with these streets like they bother this shit. Cry baby, you Iron Maiden. 4 or 5 turn a nickel to a dime payday. Land of the lost, so don't try save me. This is just the life of a slave. Time
Working all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Drinking all night, working all day. This is our life, so have it your way. Have it your way.
Some people say that they will never be heard. Speak a little louder. I'll never hear your word. It's okay. Yeah, they're probably not listening anyway. Yeah. Check it. When I was growing up, I was a dreamer, not a realist. They said you dreaming, son, because you'll never be the illest. Now I'm a mix between a realist and a dreamer. I drive a piece of shit, but I'm still dreaming of a beamer. I sat here long enough, like I was an abandoned building. Walking a tightrope in this world, trying to provide for my children. This world's in recession, bringing me to depression. So meet me at the studio for a 3-hour session to release some aggression. The microphone's a killer, music on my weapons, and I am the killer. If music were drugs, then I'd be the killer. If my rhymes were sirloins, I'd be the killer, the killer. That's savvy long enough, it's time to lash out. Quit fucking around with all this garbage, time to take the trash out. Walk through the fire, and I get cooled off by rain. And if anybody tries to bring me down, I will get up again and get right. Some people say that they will never be heard. Speak a little louder. I'll never hear your word. It's okay. Yeah, they're probably not listening anyway. Yeah. The power, the pressure, the pain of an icon. The only time my soul breathes easy gets when my mic's on. Spitting juice over beats equals the rain song. Therapeutic, retributed through the veins in my arms. My infrastructure, pessimistic through history. Once conceived, 9 months of mystery. Proof for birth, 4 different certificates. Different dates for different bodies, same face. My eyes see through the breach, belief was a reach. My mom's bled for safety, married to a leech. My confidence was shut down. Standing on the road of love and got run down. Surrounded by mannequins posing threats. 3 times in 2 weeks I was close to death. Forever playing the game of life with just these rules. Some people say that they will never be heard. Speak a little louder, or they'll never hear your word. It's okay. Yeah, they're probably not listening anyway. Yeah. Speak a little louder. 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 Speak a little louder.
It's that shit right here, you know what I mean? You see, I'm a Brooklyn nigga, and this that Shaolin shit, you know what I mean? Some of the coolest girls out on bridge, niggas. You know what I mean? East New York, it's in the motherfucking building.
You can tell my mutual closeness. You can take my hard boiled hat, but you can never take from me my silver mounted cat. The grown up men all know me, and they sure leave me be. I'm a picture back in Papa, and I remember where I played.
Grimy like East New York, Brownsville, home of the Tomahawk, Caddy Club, Dog Park, the ESTs on sidewalk. Let's get back to live talk. Violate, ruin your knees like asphalt. You must have asked for it. 5 different state IDs and 8 passports. Stay back and forth. Catch me midtown, laying in the language loft. You hold the heat, but you ain't blasting off. Just another corporate rapper. I order slap your front like the street, but you taking orders from crackers. just another nigga caught in the rapture. You waiting on the next job, but I'm still eating like contractors. Blaming on your windows media, I'm step hot maintenance keeper. Stay burning the cheaper. After 14 years, how could you not be a believer? With this real shit coming through the speakers. Every time you hear me, it's equal.
What?
Why y'all niggas going out like a ratchet with ammunition? I'm never running out, so go ahead. Run your mouth, say my name the wrong way. When we meet up, nigga, it's gonna be a long day. So get down, lay down, do what the song say. Before you find your friends right over where the horns play. Shit.
You can tell my teeth so close. You can take my hard-boiled egg, but you can never take from me my silver-mounted jet. The grown-up men all know me, and they sure leave me be. I'm a pistol packing papa, and I ramble where I bleed.
That's right. That shit right here, dog. Okay. I got a special guest tonight right now. My nigga Cash Memphis is dirty.
Rap nigga to my stack nigga. Just the one max and an act nigga. Blackjack triple sold weed by myself cause I bagged that nigga. Bobby Brown was the shit. One badass sister, yo. I kill him slow like cigarettes. Knocking shit down like terrorists. The host cause you been a guest. I paid dues, no receipts, but I paid moves. With no permission, I just take crew. Get it right the first time. No time for take two. This is how I do it cause I stay true. Ever since a baby and baby blue, I stick you with these verses like crazy glue. My rhyme hard to go as deep as the Navy do. Dope space killer on the track can save the world. The black market fucking up the game, we change the rules. Politics with niggas and they beats instead. Nobody front when they see us on the street, so that's the show. Throw your hands up, roll up the L. This is black market shit, and these niggas do it well, yeah. Throw your hands up, roll up the L. This is black market shit, and these niggas do it well,
You
yeah.
can tell my teeth
That's
so
right, roll
close.
up the L.
You
This
can
is
take my hard-boiled egg, but you can never take
Yeah,
from me
man.
my
Came to the best shit.
silver-mounted jet.
What?
Grown-up men all
That's
know
a
me,
shit.
and they
This
sure
mixtape
leave
shit, y'all
me
niggas
be.
want. Y'all
I'm a
want it.
pistol packing
Came hard on that shit. That niggas at that damn head though. Gotta dumb me down for y'all motherfuckers. It's nothing. It's black market.
I got the Metro card, you got the Porsche. I got black in my wallet, you got.
Through thinking, you cannot be aware of those spaces between words. Because thinking is object consciousness. The space between words takes you to space consciousness. So the entire secret of our gathering here, of all spirituality, is just one thing. All the things that happen, your financial situation, your health situation, your relationship situation, your work situation, your living situation, yes, these things matter, relatively speaking, but there's one thing that is more important, that matters absolutely, and that is your state of consciousness. And whether or not you have awakened to what we could call, it sounds a little abstract, but it's not, we could call the transcendent dimension of consciousness in you. The transcendent dimension of consciousness. Now, I'm not going to immediately immediately define what that means, because actually it cannot be defined. It can be pointed to, this is what these words are for, but these words are not a substitute for it. The words point. Famous phrase in Buddhism, it's the finger pointing to the moon. But the finger is not the moon. So there's nothing that I say tonight that you need to believe on a conceptual level. I'm not asking you to believe anything whatsoever. There is what I sometimes call the two levels of consciousness, the conceptual. I sometimes call that object consciousness. These are all the things that happen in your perceptual field and in your mental field, thinking, emotions, sense perceptions. Things arise, things pass away, things come and go, sense perceptions, ideas, thoughts, opinions, feelings, emotions, all belong to object consciousness. One object after another happens. You perceive things, and then thought objects arise continuously, a stream of thoughts. No, for most people, the stream of thoughts has such a gravitational pull that they get completely dragged along by this continuously proliferating stream of mental activity. I sometimes call it the voice in the head. It never stops speaking. It continuously comments on where you are, what you're doing, or takes you somewhere completely different in the so-called past or the so-called future. One thing after another, one damn thing after another, to paraphrase Churchill. Churchill was talking about history. History is just one damn thing after another, and that's true, but for many people, their conditioned mind, the experience of their conditioned mind is just one damn thing after another, because it never leaves you alone. It goes. So most humans who are not awakened or even awakening are completely trapped in their object consciousness. They are confined by it, and not only that, they are completely identified with all the arising thoughts and emotions that continuously go through their mind. And there's no separation between the thoughts and the emotions that accompany the thoughts, and you're not even there. When you're totally identified with the voice in the head, you are, spiritually speaking, asleep. Or another word for it is unconscious. So an unconscious person, in ordinary usage, unconscious means, of course, you've completely lost, you don't know what's going on, and this is unconscious. In conventional usage, unconscious means, in spiritual usage, unconscious means completely and continuously identified with the stream of thinking and the emotions that go with the stream of thinking. What does it mean to be identified? It means you derive your sense of who you are from the stream of thinking. Every thought is imbued with a sense of self. So you're identified. It has you in its grasp. And therefore, if you say, people conventionally say, I think, what do you think? As if thinking for most people were a voluntary activity, whereas for most, not you, but those who are not awakening yet, which is the majority of the population still on the planet, for most, that is, they are completely identified with the stream of thinking. They are, spiritually speaking, unconscious. And that is a terrible thing, because then everything that you perceive, reality itself as you perceive it, goes through the filter of your mental emotional conditioning from the past. So you never see anything as it is, perceive anything clearly, and most importantly, there is never a sense of true inner peace, spaciousness, joy, sense of aliveness, sense of connectedness with something that is deeper than your historical person. You're always at the mercy of what goes on out there and the reactive patterns of your mind. So you're completely unaware of the possibility of realizing the other dimension of consciousness, which is not object consciousness, but space consciousness. I call it sometimes space consciousness. Now, what is space consciousness? You cannot define it because it's beyond concepts. You can know what space consciousness is in this very moment by becoming aware of the gaps between words when I speak. I'm just slowing down a little bit. So instead of being totally interested in the words, you're also interested, although that's probably not the right word, you're also giving attention to the empty spaces between the words, because they are needed. Without the spaces, there could be no sounds. The sound needs the space to exist. Oh, that's interesting, to be aware of the gaps between words. Or, in this room, in this hall, to be aware not only of the objects in this room, the objects that make up this room, what's in it, the bodies, the objects, that which confines and defines the room, the ceiling, the walls, the floor, this is the room. You're not only aware of that, that would be, in this analogy, object consciousness, you're also aware of the space in this room. Now the space isn't something that you say, oh, it's there, or it's there. But it is the most important part of this room is the space. And it's a wonderful space, but you cannot define it. It has no actual, you can't even say that space exists. Because exist means to manifest, to stand out. Exist, ex means out from Latin. Exist means to be manifested. But space doesn't manifest, it enables everything to manifest in the physical realm. Without space, these things could not be here. So space is prior to existence. Space is prior to manifestation. That's very interesting. So there is something in you, which I sometimes call space consciousness, that is prior to who you are as a person, your personality. And you can know it, not conceptually, but immediately and experientially by becoming aware either of the spaciousness outside of you or becoming aware of spaces between sounds, spaces between words. Now, how do you do that? How do you become aware of a space between two words? There is no how, because it's too simple for how. Quite simply, there's an attention in you, a field of alert attention. And this field of alert attention is aware of the space between words. You notice that silent space. What does it mean to notice that silent space? It means in this brief moment of noticing, or noticing the space in this room, in this brief moment, you're not thinking, you're just aware. Through thinking you cannot be aware of those spaces between words, because thinking is object consciousness. The space between words takes you to space consciousness. So the entire secret of our gathering here, of all spirituality, is just one thing. Now, amazingly, I'm going to talk about this one thing for hours. Using different pointers. Also, perhaps, as you might have noticed, I haven't prepared anything, so I say perhaps because I don't know exactly what I'm going to speak about, but I assume I will also be speaking about the obstacles to this realization. This is very helpful to address the obstacles that may and probably will arise in you to the realization of that transcendent dimension of consciousness, which is the most important thing, this realization, the most important thing that can happen in your life. It's not even happen is the wrong word. The most important thing in your life is to connect with that depth dimension. Because without that, even if you don't fully awaken whatever that is, but to have an inner connectedness with something that transcends the personality or the historical person. The historical person that you are has its place, it's fine. You have to live with yourself on that level, and it's problematic. Every person is problematic. Every person's life is problematic. Although you might not know this if you read people's Facebook posts, because they're all doing great. And they're all looking so happy. And they're all eating their wonderful meals that you have to fake. And they look all so beautiful because the pictures are so overexposed, like the photo on the front cover of the magazine. The photos are so overexposed that everybody looks so ethereal and beautiful. All that's left is you see the eyes and just a little bit of blurry outline of the face, but that's all. You don't know whether they're 20 years old or 60, you wouldn't know. So that's... But life, the people have a mental construct of what their life is. One is that project into the world through modern technology. And then you have another mental construct that you live with in your life. That you call me and my life. Me and my life. That's the person talking. That's the personality talking. So And when you start questioning people, or you listen to people, or listen to the voice in your own head talking about me and my life, it's not the greatest story. It's a problematic story. It's not easy being me. In fact, I don't think anybody is having a more difficult time than me, and I need to think about that a bit more. How can I solve this dilemma of me, this conundrum, this I am. It's amazing that many people consider themselves, without verbalizing it in that way, they consider themselves to be a problem to be solved. There's something, and this is very interesting, there's something in the human psyche, if you're not awakening at all yet, so in the normal state of consciousness or unconsciousness, there's something there. There's always, either in the background or in the foreground. If it's in the background, there's a sense of unease, a sense of something is missing, something is lacking. And what it is that's missing, perhaps the mind will figure out, okay, what I need to be fulfilled is this, that. Or the mind might not even know, because whenever you achieve something that you think will liberate you from this permanent sense of insufficiency, then whenever you think you found it, it doesn't take long, and then you say, oh no, because there's something else goes wrong there too. There's a new relationship, there's a new work situation, there's a new living situation. So there's often you deceive yourself, you say, no, I found the answer to the dilemma of me. I'm liberated now because I have found the partner that I've been looking for, the one. I have found the one. And this delusion lasts for a little while. We don't know how long it could last, for a year, probably less. You can see when you look to anything for, let's use this almost spiritual term, salvation, because you're really looking to something out there for salvation through a deeply satisfying relationship, permanently satisfying. Salvation through some kind of acquisition of something adding to your life. Salvation through moving to a totally different country or place. Salvation through recognition from other people. Once people recognize me, when I become famous, well, then I'll be fully myself. Then I will have found salvation. But all these people, when they find those things, it doesn't take long. Take relationships. You go out, you go dating. I don't know if they still do it these days, dating. Maybe dating is old-fashioned because everything happens on the phone. Tinder, swiping. And then you have a date. When you go to a restaurant, you can immediately see with a couple sitting, whether a couple has been together already for quite a while, or whether they're only meeting for the first, second, or third time. We're dating. The others are not dating, they're already living together. Totally different energy field. Because the ones who are dating, they still are under the delusion that they found salvation through the other person. And you can, when you observe people, you can see it, the way they look at each other. They're both in a state of hypnosis, because they go, so wonderful. And you don't even know that you're playing a role unconsciously, and the other person is playing their role, and these two roles interact, and you think, well, this is the reality. And then you see another couple. They obviously have been together for a while, and they sit there, and most likely these days they are on their phones, so they're already living together. And so when the dating goes to the next stage, you start moving in together, then these days it often happens before the wedding, if there even is a wedding. But so you move in together and you quickly notice that this person is not the same person that you dated. Soon, after a few days or weeks, sometimes months, but that's maximum, you find, who is this person? There are suddenly aspects of the personality that you find deeply irritating, if not disturbing. And then you question yourself, say, I must have made a mistake. But it could also be that your partner feels the same thing about you. What happened? So you're experiencing a conditioned personality. You're no longer experiencing a part that somebody is playing. You experience the conditioning of the person, and every person is, if you live with them for a little while, everybody, you will display behavior that is not that pleasant. They also have a pain body. If you've read my books and talks, you know what a pain body is. And we may talk about it later. It's an accumulation of past emotional pain that lives in you, but it's dormant, and then after a while it becomes active because it needs to feed on some kind of drama. And when you start living with somebody, and for the first time you experience this person's pain body, when suddenly there's a shift in the entire energy field of that person, it's no longer the same person at all. It's a dreadful thing. And you don't know what it is. You say, well, and that's how somebody wrote an article a while ago in the paper that says why you married the wrong person. So in that sense, it's not pessimistic, but it sounds pessimistic. You always marry the wrong person. Unless you awaken to a deeper dimension in yourself that transcends the conditioned personality, then you have something more, something genuine, something that is not part of the conditioned entity that we call the person or the personality. Without that, the state of insufficiency, of lack, of not enough, of something missing, but you don't know what, or you think you know what, but that's not it, you can never get rid of it. So if you remain trapped in the mental conditional, the conditioned energy field of the personality, then you are condemned to perpetual dissatisfaction, to put it mildly, or to use an even more generic term, unhappiness. That's a translation of a generic term that the Buddha used when he used the term dukkha, which can be translated, is usually translated as suffering, but in more generic terms it means unhappiness, misery, unease. Let's stay with unhappiness in whatever form. So you're condemned to that every situation turns into, eventually something turns up to mar the situation in some way, whether it's a person or a place or an activity or something that you that you add to your life, that you obtain. There's always something, and that's in the nature of things. But it only happens, and that's the positive part of the Buddha's teaching is never really spoken of, because he doesn't want you to believe in something. So whatever happens, there's always something that goes wrong, so to speak. But that's not a pessimistic statement. That only applies if you are dependent for your sense of well-being, your sense of who you are, if you're dependent on all those external factors for your sense of who you truly are, your sense of identity, your sense of well-being, because nothing can satisfy you for long. And that's, if you leave it at that, it sounds a little pessimistic or nihilistic. Okay, so what's the point in anything, says the person who superficially studies Buddhism or other teachings. So if nothing can satisfy, what's the point in anything? I might as well get drunk and then experience briefly that, and then the next hangover, and then get drunk again, and then eventually I'll kill myself. But that is only the first part. He says, if you seek yourself in all those things that you think will bring you salvation, if you seek yourself in those things of the world that the world offers, then you will be unhappy. But now the unspoken part is, but if you find yourself in the formless realm of transcendent consciousness, then the world is actually no longer such a bad place, because you don't look to the world, which means other people, achievements, situations and places and acquisitions. You don't look to the world for completion of your sense of identity. You don't seek yourself anymore in the things of this world. Then the things of the world are no longer as frustrating as they were before. And you can allow things to be, you can participate in the play of form, in manifesting. You can even enjoy relationships because you're no longer looking for completion of your sense of self through those things. So why are you no longer looking for completion of your sense of self through those things? Because you have found yourself not in the realm of object consciousness, not in the realm of thought or sensory perception. You have found a deeper dimension within yourself, which we call temporarily space consciousness. I also sometimes call it the deep I. By that I don't mean this I, it's a pronoun first. I am. The deep I, as opposed to the surface I. Now, there's the two of you exist. Well, the deep I doesn't really exist. It's a prior to existence. That you have both in you, but most humans are only aware of the surface I, and that's a terrible deprivation that really is a non-fulfillment, permanent sense of non-fulfillment with brief interludes of deluded fulfillment. Like you can have a big sensory gratification through you have a wonderful meal, and then you feel, okay, I'm really fulfilled now. Well, okay, the body is full for a moment. Or you can drink, you can take in some substances, and you have brief moments of, a substance, whatever, can can free you of yourself briefly too. But I don't recommend it. But I can see why people and millions all over the world are longing, and many cannot live without some substance. There's an enormous pull, an enormous longing. What is it that they experience when they take this substance, whether it's alcohol or other things? They experience briefly, never lasts,
We're having water.
a sense of self-transcendence. So the substance can briefly free you of yourself. This mind-made thing that you live with, this problematic sense of I.
The water
this
almost killed me.
Me and my life. Oh dear, how am I going to solve this problem? Well, you can't. So alcohol can briefly free you because you take a few drinks and you feel lighter.
That doesn't mean overindulge in alcohol.
Ah,
Just
because
saying.
it slows down your mind. You can't think that much anymore.
That's okay, I
and
needed a
because
good
you
cough.
can't think that much anymore, life becomes somewhat less problematic. Because if you don't remember your problems, they're gone. All you're left with is immediate situations that you either deal with or you don't deal with. But the place where your problems live is in your mind, and they only exist if you think about them. Of course, they refer to situations, that is true, but every situation can only be experienced or faced or solved or simply accepted in the present moment. Nothing ever arises in your life that's not in the present moment. So the rest and the present moment you can deal with. It's just here now. Either you take action or you don't. But this is the present moment. But then you have a whole superstructure of the problematic, my problematic life that lives in your mind. And that's an incredible burden to live with. And everybody lives with this burden if they have not awakened to the deeper dimension of the deep I. They are trapped in their surface I. It's a terrible prison. I can sometimes watch people how they are trapped in their personality, and everything they say and the way they perceive things is totally colored by the conditioning of their mind. They're identified with every thought that comes into their head. If you just question something, an opinion, they express an opinion, and you say, no, I don't think that's right, and they immediately get defensive or aggressive or angry or and sometimes people get violent when you doubt their opinions. Say, no, you're wrong. People sometimes kill each other because they can't agree on a subject. Why? Because you derive your sense of identity from thought. An opinion is a thought or a group of thoughts in your mind that you identify with. When you identify with it, it becomes part of the ego. So we're talking here, of course, I haven't used the word so far, we are talking about egoic consciousness. When you identify it with thought completely, you are in egoic consciousness. The ego is operating in you, and it pretends to be you. And so you are, spiritually speaking, asleep. You are a totally conditioned entity. And so every opinion that you have, anybody should question it. This person is questioning your very sense of identity. And that's how you react. You feel threatened in your sense of identity. It's an absurd delusion, but millions live like that. So the identification with mental positions is a very important part of the egoic consciousness. Now, does this mean as you awaken to the deeper levels, the transcendent dimension, does that mean you no longer have any opinions? No, it doesn't. You continue to have opinions and of course thoughts also, but you do not derive your sense of who you are from those thoughts or opinions. Why do you no longer derive your sense of who you are from those thoughts? Because you have found something much more real, much more fundamental than any thought that tells you who you are. A thought is, but the analogy I often use is a ripple on the surface of the ocean. You as a personality, and the personality consists of the conditioning of your mind.
Hey, good morning.
You're like a ripple on the surface of the
Yeah.
ocean.
The words of the
as
day.
this ripple.
Yeah, those are good ones.
Some ripples are bigger than others, but it doesn't make that much difference. Some ripples are even waves. They might have a private jet, so there's a wave. I'm a wave. I'm not a ripple on the surface of the ocean. And so the ripple considers, it looks at other ripples and feels uneasy and feels never complete. And deep down it knows that its existence is short-lived.
Islands in the
So
stream.
it hopes to
Yeah,
become a
that's
little
what
bigger
we
ripple by looking to the future.
Nothing.
Because if I get this level, then
I
I'll be a
can wait
bigger
it
ripple. But it also knows deep down that the future that it looks to for
And we
fulfillment
rely
will
on
eventually
each
kill it
other.
too. So the future is a
From
two-edged sword.
one
It promises
to
fulfillment, but it really will kill you. That's time. Well, we are all suffering as a physical entity. We are all suffering, of course, from that disease. The prognosis is not good because we all have this virus called time, and if it's already consuming our bodies, and you don't have to wait long, and finally it kills you. We haven't found a remedy yet against time.
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of reading.
Creates an uneasy existence on the surface of the ocean.
I love it. I think that's cute. Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of reading. Alexa, play some classical reading music.
The station, Classical Focus, free on Amazon Music.
Alexa, volume 5. Alexa, play different reading music.
The playlist, Instrumental Covers for Work, free on Amazon Music.
Alexa, volume 4. We're reading just for today. Yeah, we had started doing a full read on it. Someone requested if we could start from the beginning. We're on page 4 in here, right? No? Where did we finish off? Cornerstone of American Life. Gotcha. Cornerstone of American Life. It may come to us as a surprise that it may come as a surprise to many that every president of the United States, from George Washington on down, has paid public tribute to the fact that the cornerstone of American life rests on strong spiritual foundation. For example, in his farewell address delivered in 1796, Washington observed, "All of the dispositions and habits which lead to political prosperity, religion, and morality are indispensable supports. Let us with caution indulge the supposition that morality can be maintained without religion." A similar tribute was voiced by President Lincoln in 1858, coupled with a much-needed warning in what Carl Sandburg in Linden Collector refers to as the lost speech of Abraham Lincoln. The great president spoke these words concerning the Declaration of Independence and the motives of those who wrote it. This was their lofty and wise and noble understanding of the justice of the Creator to his creatures, to the whole great family of man. In their enlightened belief, nothing stamped with the divine image and likeness was sent to the world to be trodden on and degraded and imbruted by its fellows. On June 7, 1950, President Truman, while addressing a convention of Lutherans in Washington, D.C., uttered these significant words: "We are faced with tremendous responsibilities. We have become the leaders of the moral forces of the world, the leaders who believe that the Sermon on the Mount means what it says, the leaders of that part of the world which believes that the law is the God-given law under which we believe, that all our traditions have come from Moses at Sinai and Jesus on the Mount. We have forces in the world that do not believe in a moral code, that even go so far as to say there is no supreme being, that material beings are all that count. Material things are ashes. If there is no spiritual background for the support of those material beings." 4 specific references. The basis of the moral code to which President Truman refers, a lot of people refer to like a lucky stone or something. To someone else it's just a rock, but to you that was the rock you and your mom picked off a beach, and it's your little worry stone you carry around in your pocket, a reminder of that love and time. And it's a special treasure to you, that little rock that means nothing to anybody else. If there's no spiritual background for the support of those material things. Right, so this is an age-old debate and discussion. It seems to not even trot in the minds of a lot of people who are just money hungry and grabbing at contracts and safety and security. Do you really have a choice? Anyways, 4 specific references. The basis of the moral code to which President Truman refers is dependence on God, whom we recognize as the source of all our liberty and strength. Our founding fathers made 4 explicit, right, or it could be the rock that took your eye out. Someone threw it, took your eye out, right? It's either a symbol of love and good memories or something that took your eyesight. Eye of the beholder. Father, Mother, God. Our founding fathers made 4 explicit references to the very fact in the Immortal Declaration, the charter of our freedom. Number 1, in the first sentence they wrote, "To which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled them." 2, in the second sentence, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Number 3, in the next to last sentence, appealing to the supreme judge of the world. And number 4, in the last sentence, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence. Prophetic reminder. About 250 years ago, before the establishment of our republic, this same concept of recognition and reliance on the Creator of all was voiced by William Penn when the character of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania was being written. These people, he said, who are not governed by God will be ruled by tyrants. Alexa, Volume 1. We did read this section. We're rereading some of it. To go back even farther, through all the centuries of Christianity and for 1,000 years before that, when the Jews alone kept alive the same divine concept, man has recognized that. Number 1, each and every human being comes from God and must one day return to God to render an account of his stewardship. In other words, we all come from the same place. You can do whatever you want with experiments and light beams and create life, right? They've done those experiments where they hermetically seal a piece of sand. A sterilized piece of sand or something, yeah. Life still finds a way to grow or something. Do we all come from that same makeup? Species. Human beings. Yeah, and so some mammals are considered mammals, mating, how conception of another life forms, multiplicity. You can call it what you want to call it. And then death is death. You're dead. To be considered dead, flatlined, there's really no difference. I mean, the methods and the means to which you reach that, your throat got sliced, natural causes. You had a heart attack, accident, head trauma. Right, so we have a lot of people who want to argue that death is caused by a car accident. And you have these people saying, no, it's from getting your throat sliced. I think you're identifying, what do they call that, personal identification? Yeah, I think you need to pull yourself out. Right, so I mean, you're just dealing with people that are allowed to do that within these systems, and we're watching these children and fucktards and spoiled brats and druggies debate about the meaning of the word God. Yeah, so I don't know how this has been allowed to go on for so long. Me as a dead mother, I'm concerned about my children who have been fucked and tortured for years by these punks, feeding it to these sick fucking stupid activists who seem to not understand these things and profit from your stupidity. Anyways, carry on. We can't really do too much about it, can we? You want to look outside or... We'll do this. Yeah, I like sitting on this bench to read. Alright, about 250 years ago, before the establishment, blah, 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 will be ruled by tyrants. To go back even farther, through all the centuries of Christianity and for 1,000 years before that, when the Jews alone kept alive the same divine concept, man has recognized that. Number 1, each and every human being comes from God and must one day return to God and render an account of his stewardship. Number 2, he has certain fundamental rights given him by God that no power on earth can lawfully take from him. Number 3, the chief purpose of government is to secure these God-given rights. Action needed. In our day, despite the frequent affirmation of this all-important truth, it's interesting, many have had this discussion before and they say, well, okay, your God-given right to live and to die. Now, if you're bleeding out, who are you to stop that and try to save a life? We should just let him die on the side of the road. Some places still do that, I think. There's some places that still do that. Yeah, so with those things, we have kind of common sense, right? Boundaries. And when it comes to even someone, the simple act of someone being smacked or robbed, depending on where you are, if you're walking up the street in a restaurant, who's around, you got anybody with you, are you alone? You might either say something or do this. Yeah, your kind of brain takes into, factoring situations. For your own safety, right? Action needed. In our day, despite the frequent affirmation of this all-important truth upon which our very survival as a nation depends, it is becoming increasingly evident that much of this is just talk. While we have dutifully continued to give lip service to our dependence on God, we have failed to reduce it to practice, to integrate it into the important spheres that affect the lives of the vast majority of people. We are in grave danger of being hypocritical if we delay any longer to insist that this divine truth be brought to life in our government, in our schools, and in every other phase of life. Those who are devoted followers of the anti-God theses and who insist that man is a nobody, just a collection of chemicals worth about $1.89, are very much on the job. They not only talk, they act. They leave nothing to chance, despite what the president or anybody else says. These apostles of godlessness despise the idea of this nation under God and are determined to change it to this nation without God. Need to reemphasize primary truths. In 1934, Abe Lamartine, the great Belgian physicist who collaborated with Einstein, told a small group at a dinner in Indianapolis that much of the success of the Nazis had been due to the fact that they reduced their philosophy to a few simple ideas. These, he said, they repeated over and over until the majority of the people became so familiar with them and so well disposed of them that the acceptance of the rest of the Nazis' program was made comparatively easy. The abbé then went on to say that unless means were taken immediately to reemphasize the primary truths of Christianity and restore them to the mainstream of German life, one of the greatest catastrophes in all history would soon follow. Events since have provided the correctness of this terrible forecast, since the consistent practice of all totalitarians, communists, fascists, and Nazis alike is to concentrate on undermining, ridiculing, or eliminating the basic truths of religion and the principles which stem from them. These who would be Christophers should focus particular attention on the following fundamentals. Number 1, the existence of a personal triune God who has spoken to the world. Number 2, Jesus Christ, true God and true man. Right, any truth, like, okay, we got to accept washing your hands kills bacteria. Okay, we must accept storing food at proper temperature helps to eliminate some of that sickness. We must accept those truths. You might have believed something else before or had no idea. And it almost feels as though people are telling you were doing something wrong and making people sick, and no one's saying that. Right, you got to accept this truth. Don't feel any blame. And I know there's a whole crowd of people over there calling you stupid and saying, you're killing us, and it's your fault, we're retarded. I know, shut up. Right, now we got a group of people over here trying to protect these people from being yelled at by us. Yeah, you're a bunch of nasty fucking pieces of shit. Anyways, I really hope the proper authorities here in Augusta, Maine help these hostages. Number 2, Jesus Christ, true God and true man. Number 3, the foundation by Jesus Christ of a church to teach all men and bring them to eternal salvation. Number 4, the 10 Commandments. Number 5, the sacred character of the individual. Number 6, the sanctity of the lifelong marriage bond. Number 7, the sanctity of the home as the basic unit of the whole human family. I like how they say whole human family. Number 8, the human rights of every person has coming from God, not from the state. Number 9, the right based on human nature to process private property with its consequent obligation to society. Number 10, due respect for domestic, civil, and religious authority. These are great, right? Number 9, the right based on human nature to possess private property with its consequent obligation to society. And then when people want to say, hey, this is our property, they're not respecting our rights, the government's trying to tell you what to do. Yeah, that's how it fucking works, dude. Anyways. Number 10, due respect for domestic, civil, and religious authority. Number 11, judgment after death. While these 11 truths are only a portion of all things, excuse me, if somebody wants to burn a bunch of shit and it's polluting the air and the neighbors are getting sick from all the bonfires they're having. Yeah, there's regulations. You can only burn so much. That's why they have burn permits, and you have to buy a burn permit. And they can only allot for so much. Yeah, and this can change. Like if they see pollution levels or the air quality really hurting in some places, they might not allow you to buy a fire permit at all. No burning for you. What the hell? Been burning once a week for 10 years. Not this week. Go ahead, do it. You'll get a fucking fine. Government's trying to fight back. Shut the fuck up. Anyways, while these 11 truths are only a portion of all things that Christ commissioned his church to teach all nations, nevertheless, they are the foundation on which all else depends. Put them to use. Someone could shoot off fireworks or polluting the water. There's a whole host of things that someone could be doing which affect society or that community. The air quality. A lot of things. Anyways, put them to use. Little is accomplished merely by recognizing these truths. However, we must bring them to life. They must be integrated, incarnated into everyday living, especially in the great fields of influence into which the Christophers hope to guide 1 million persons of high purpose. Thus can be corrected the tragic error of our day, which keeps the 10 Commandments in one compartment and our daily activities in the other. Alexa, Volume 4. These truths can be blended into every phase of our living, must be blended in our freedom, must be blended if our freedom is to endure. Men who need water are little interested in being told of the relative merits of hydrogen and oxygen as distinct from each other. They are waiting patiently to have these elements combined, so that they may obtain the precious liquid they need. The apostles of evil don't mind a bit if we merely talk our convictions, wring our hands of the breakdown of faith and morals, and confine ourselves to wishful thinking. Their only fear is that someday we will begin to practice what we preach, that we will wake up and see how easy it would be for us to come to grips with the problem. How? By making the truth of God come alive, by carrying it into every vital field ourselves and not expecting others to do this important task for us. Yeah, when many get offended by that and it goes against their beliefs and it's blasphemy, and then other groups get a lot of money to protect their childish, stupid fucking beliefs, yeah, we got a fucking problem. Anyways, the apostles of evil don't mind a bit if we merely talk our convictions, wring our hands of the breakdown of faith and morals, and confine ourselves to wishful thinking. Their only fear is that someday we will begin to practice what we preach, that we will wake up and see how easy it would be for us to come to grips with the problem. How? By making the truth of God come alive, by carrying it into every vital field ourselves and not expecting others to do this important task for us.
Makes it so easy.
Alexa, Volume 1. I know, you'll get in trouble. Mother won't like it. Yeah. No residual income for you. They'll cut you off. Trust me, we've been doing this for a while. It's so fucking sick and gross. You guys are pathetic. For real. What we need, warned Dwight D. Eisenhower, is a dynamic, constructive force to lead the world. Except for moral regeneration, there is no hope for us, and we are going to disappear one day in the dust of an atomic explosion. The answer is in our hands. It is a terrible challenge, but we must face the facts. There is no other way than the way of Christ. I am the way, and the truth, and the life. If we but strike a spark, that spark in the providence of God may one day burst into a flame that will sweep over the earth. The Christopher approach. The word Christopher is taken from the Greek word Christophoros, which means Christ bearer. The purpose of the Christophers is to stimulate at least 1 million individuals to assume a personal responsibility in restoring to the marketplace the spiritual truths upon which this nation is founded, and without it cannot survive. Chief among these is the self-evident truth that each human being derives his rights from God, not government, that the purpose of government is to secure these God-given rights. Most of the turmoil of our day is due to the fact that the godless, a handful at most, have swarmed into the 4 fields that influence the lives of all people all over the world. Excuse me. That influence the lives of people all over the world. Oh, my recording's going to stop soon. Running out of space. Well, we'll just finish this paragraph then, because we're almost done with this paragraph, yeah. All right, lives of people all over the world. Number 1, education. 2, government. 3, labor relations. And 4, the creative end of newspapers, magazines, books, radios, motion pictures, and television. These fields will never be any better than the people in them. Little is accomplished by complaining or criticizing. It is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. If another handful goes down as Christ bearers into these same fields, a trend for the better is bound to come. Well, complaining and criticizing has become their occupation, so we're trying to get it out of those networks and education systems, because it's getting pretty scary for a lot of people. You know, those people that have to work and deal with middle class and below. Yeah, you know, those sectors of humanity that none of you want anything to do with, and you definitely don't want to wind up there, so. Yeah, if you think we're going to keep letting you do what you're doing, you're so fucking wrong, dude. For real. Anyways. Pick a pickle card. Over here. When you come to the court to play, please silence your phone, pickle. That's cute. You're welcome. It is a really beautiful day. All right, we're going to stop this because we are running out of space. And we're going to do some more reading in a little bit. Alexa, play music from 19... Alexa, volume 6.
It's gonna roll me. I ate the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Didn't make sense not to live for fun.
Your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with taking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now,
you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get
thank you.
It's a cool place.
And they say it gets colder. You bundled up now, wait till you get older. But the media men beg to differ.
Judging by the hole in the satellite picture, the ice we skate is getting pretty thin. The water's getting warm, so you might as well swim.
The world's on fire, how about yours? That's the way I like it, it'll never get bored.
Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on.
I can smell the lilac. Some other flowers too.
Only shooting stars break the mold.
Hey now. Alright. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, I made it myself. Did I spare some change for gas? I need to get myself away from this place. I said, yup. What it comes down to, I could use a little fuel myself, and we could all use a little change. Well, the years start coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and I hit the ground running. Did it make sense not to live for fun? Your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with thinking the back streets? You'll never know if you don't go. You'll never shine if you don't glow. Hey now, you're an all-star. Get your game on. I hope so. Let us know right here.
Get the show on.